I've been asked so many times over the years if sex is the most important part of a relationship, and it took me until a couple of days ago to realize that it truly is not. Sure, it sucks when you and the person you're dating don't have sexual chemistry. It can almost make every night that you guys go to bed together like a chore. And it can be really draining on the relationship, both mentally and emotionally. But in all sincerity, after so many failed relationships and so many failed attempts at true love, I came to the realization that it's not the sex that's the most important thing. Can you tell the person you're with right now if they don't please you sexually? Can you do that without fear? Can you do that without wondering if they're going to leave you? If the answer to this question is no, leave that person. Because one day you'll wake up after several failed relationships and realize that you lost a good person because you were too busy worrying about what was in between your legs. This is the one with the worst sex I ever had. Sexuality for me has always been very fluid. Yes, I believe that there are bi men, I believe there are bi women, I believe that there are demisexuals, asexuals, and all of the other variations of sexual identity in the world. However, I do also believe that gender identity, sexual identity, and pleasure are very different things. Insinuating that a person can both be demisexual and bisexual, you wouldn't believe it, right? Because that doesn't make any sense. But in all actuality, it does. For me, I never thought in a million years that I could ever be in a relationship, whether physical or sexual, with a woman who was bisexual. I did not believe that it was humanly possible for me to enjoy sex with a woman who I knew had sex with men on a regular basis. And because of that, I lost a lot of really great women. But I digress. I had just gotten out of an abusive relationship and I was looking to meet someone new. Not for a jump right into a relationship, but just someone to make me feel better. Someone to spend time with, maybe go out on dates with, someone to spoil in a way that they deserved it because I didn't get to do that with the last one. I'd given up on a number of dating apps. I didn't really believe that they served me any purpose anymore. And I knew that there was one particular place that I'd never actually thought to meet a woman, and that was outside. I never went to a bar and picked up a woman like a normal person. I never tried going out to singles events and meeting women that way. I had realized after failed relationship number 2 that I had gone years without actually meeting a woman face to face in a bar, sitting down, having a conversation, flirting a little, getting her phone number, and seeing whether or not we liked each other. I had never experienced what so many people have experienced throughout the history of Everdome. And honestly, that is not a good idea. You should never only deal with people through social media and online dating because you end up meeting people that are only as paper thin as the paper that they use to write down their username. Take, for example, the woman that I met who honestly checked all my boxes. She was beautiful, she was sophisticated, she was intelligent, she was independent, she had her own business, she was a mom, a single mom. She did everything on her own. She was so strong, so resilient, fucking beautiful. And the only thing was that she didn't know how to have sex with anybody. Now I understand, not everyone was personally trained by a sex machine at 16 years old on how to give oral sex to a woman. Not everyone was trained by a woman in high school on how to give oral sex. I understand that I was one of the very few who got taught at the hands of the master and was genuinely able to become one of the most well-known lesbian snow bunnies in the history of the world. And honestly, thinking back, I probably could have gotten past the whole sex thing with this girl, but I'm going to tell you guys this. We met at a open mic night at a local spot, and her and her friends were sitting at a table, and I thought she was gorgeous. I knew there was no way in hell she was gay. I knew there was no way in hell that if I walked over to that table and asked her for her number, she was going to give it to me. She looked like every fantasy I ever had about any female ever. She was gorgeous, tall, thin, very supermodel-like, just everything that I ever wanted in a person. And on top of all of that, she held the conversation with me. She held my interest. We were able to sit down and talk about movies and TV shows and sexuality and life. And it was like the time just flew by. So naturally, when she asked for my phone number at the end of the night, I gave it to her and I said I'd like to take her out. She agreed, and I was over the moon ecstatic, and I couldn't wait until the following weekend when I would be able to take this gorgeous woman out on the town and show her that the man who left her and her child definitely didn't deserve her. But here I thought I did. Our first date was great. We went out, we got drinks, we went to dinner. She wanted to go to this Spanish place that served like these huge margaritas and these like huge tacos the size of your face. It was a really cute spot. We went dancing. We just had literally one of the most romantic comedy-esque dates I've ever had. We bantered with each other. We threw comments back and forth. We literally worked so well off of each other that it seemed like we'd known each other for years. At the end of the night, she said that she had a confession to make and that she really wanted to make sure it wouldn't be a problem. Here we go. It was either husband, boyfriend, baby dad was still in the picture. They were in love and they wanted me to be their unicorn, or she wasn't actually gay. She was doing this as a joke. My ex-girlfriend set me up and I was just going to like die of embarrassment. But it was neither. She was what I call a baby gay. I'm not saying she was underage. She was a 20-something woman who'd only dealt with men, who was just starting out with the whole women's scene, and this would be her first night having sex with a woman. And she wanted me to take my strap and take her virginity. And I didn't know if I was ready for that. Now, I'm not saying that I couldn't have, because I could have, but I didn't think that I was ready. I had only just recently started taking straps from people, let alone giving it to somebody else, and someone who had never even been touched by any woman. I genuinely believe that although this was the worst sexual experience of my life, that I probably wasn't a great time for her either. We were both awkward as hell. Like, she didn't know how to lay. I didn't know how to put the damn thing on in the first place. And the entire time I was inside of her, it was like I felt like I was hurting her, so I wasn't doing my stroking at all. She looked like she was in mortal fucking pain, but didn't want to say anything because she didn't want to hurt my feelings. That was just round one. Round two, we said ditch the dick, and we were going to try, you know, them stereotypical lesbian moves, the scissoring, the 69, the edging, the chirping, and that actually was okay. That wasn't bad. She did have a hard time, you know, keeping her composure, and sometimes she got a little too excited, and, you know, it was more like rug burn than it was an actual enjoyment. But now looking back, what I did to this girl after we had sex was probably the worst thing I ever did. She got up from the couch where we were fooling around and said that she really truly wanted an opportunity to show me that she could be a good girlfriend and a good partner and a good possible person because she really liked me. And I turned around and said the most fucked up man-generated thing I'd ever said out of my mouth. I said I could never take you seriously because you're bad anyway. This woman had been hurt by so many men in her life, and I really turned around and said that to her. She was coming to women in a way that I usually hate, for refuge and for support. I was the woman she trusted enough to ask to do something that I was too afraid to ask anyone to do for me. And I turned around like an asshole and made her feel like shit. She was so upset that I immediately felt horrible. But I knew that I couldn't apologize because I was honest with how I felt. But the second I see a woman crying over something I did, I immediately feel like every abusive husband in every Tyler Perry movie or every Lifetime movie that's ever been made. And I knew that I screwed up. This beautiful, beautiful, smart, tall, gorgeous, full-figured, beautiful woman who wanted me, was willing to look past the fact that I had scars the size of UFOs all over me from relationship and relationship. She was willing to look past the fact that I wasn't ready to be a mom and was literally willing to give me everything I ever wanted. And I couldn't get past the fact that she couldn't get me off. Now, in my current state, I have not had sex in a while, and it has been very difficult to, adapt and adjust. And I'm now sitting here realizing that, in all sincerity, if I have gone this long without it, I could have taught her how to do it. We could have taught each other what the other one liked. It could have been a much better situation. And it's a shame now because I don't even think I could call this girl up on the phone and ask her to grab coffee as friends. Like, I don't even think I could ever ask this girl anything because I did to her what women have done to me, what men have done to me, what adults and teachers have done to me. I embarrassed her. And to me, that's the worst thing you can do to a woman when she's bearing her soul to you about something as sensitive a topic as sex. But I'm posing a question to you. As the viewers of this series, do you feel like it is okay for you to be brutally honest with someone if you genuinely feel in your heart of hearts that you're telling the truth? Do you honestly feel like I was wrong for telling this person that they weren't exactly, making the earth move for me? Do I think it was a good idea to do that to her? Do I think it was a good idea for me to literally hurt her to the point where she did not know whether or not she could ever trust another person again? To know that I hurt someone to the point where they actually said out of their mouth that I was the reason that they didn't trust gay women. To know that I was the reason that a person felt so unheard in a relationship was because I could have did something to make her feel seen as a woman and I didn't do it. In this year of accountability, I'm learning that I need to start acknowledging there were times when I wasn't a good person. I wasn't a good person. Sometimes I was. Sometimes I was an amazing person, a great girlfriend, a great partner, an amazing friend. And other times when I was fucking horrible. And in moments like this, when I see this young woman who is so, so beautiful even now, who's excelling at her business, who's excelling as a mom and as a woman, and she's building her life up to the type of person she wants to be. And I'm sitting here and thinking, you dumbass, you could have been at her side. You could have been the one standing by her when all these things happened. And you decided that your nut was going to be more important to you than having a woman who loved you, who supported you, and who wanted you to succeed. And it's like, now it's like, I could have made this a funny little dabble episode where I told you guys how she didn't know what she was doing and it was like having this, but I'm not going to do that. This series is coming to an end at the end of the month. And although it has been a wild ride, I am no longer going to sit here and mimic and poke fun and embarrass people who literally, to me, their only negative thing they've ever done is having fun with me. And I'm not going to keep allowing my past to define my future, or hell, even my present. And in this instance, this woman who I still think is gorgeous, and if I wasn't an emotional fucking basket case, I would probably ask her to call me. But at the end of the day, I hope that she succeeds. I hope that she finds a man or a woman who can make her as happy as she deserves, who can treat her daughter with the love and respect she deserves. But more importantly, if she's listening to this, and I know she knows I'm talking about, if you ever want a lesson in how to eat vagina, call me.